All right, let's do our mid-season finale.
Mid-season finale.
5.
Yep.
4.
Hello and welcome to Belonging Songs. It's the podcast that brings you a brand new original song with each episode. Then we talk about the theme of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it, sometimes the revisions we make to that song along the way. I'm your host, Wade Dana. With me today, my good friends, Patrick Crane.
Who let Brad in here?
I see
And
what
who
you
let
did there.
Brad
You
in
went
here?
Patrick first. I was totally prepared to say something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe if you paid your dues.
Take a shower.
Brad
Patrick.
Mauer, here again. Brad Mauer takes shower.
It's a
Why
brand
don't you
new
learn
song.
to fucking drive?
Oh.
Listen. I've been working on my parallel parking. You don't have to be mean about it, especially on the air. We have an illusion of friendship to maintain and
All right.
camaraderie. Can we keep it
use your
professional,
Use your
bud?
illusion again.
2.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
Brad, nice
Thanks.
eyebrows.
I waxed them.
I know.
Thanks.
You look good. You look well groomed, like you showered.
BSers, we're here. You're here. Fun fact. When we initially started talking about this podcast, we didn't have a name for it, and we were going to call
Hey,
it the
listen.
Hey Listen podcast, which we thought was super clever. And I even went and secured Hey Listen podcast as a website. And then we found out there's like 100 podcasts called the Hey Listen podcast. So, a little side note there for you, for the trivia. If that ever comes up as trivia and what we're listening to. Now, BSers,
Right.
you will know.
That can officially be a clue on Jeopardy now because all the information is public. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, today, new song, mid-season finale. That's right. After this week, we are going to be away for a little bit to write new songs for the second half of season 2. So this is our very first mid-season finale because we didn't do one last year.
the
pretty
most exciting. Huge.
It's going to be huge. We have the shortest song we've ever brought to the podcast to highlight
Good.
in our mid-season
Good
finale.
song. Midway through.
Which is good.
This is an interesting song. This is something that was done years ago in a very interesting way. Brad, do you want to kick off the story of this
I
song?
will say that we have a text thread with several of our friends, approximately 10 people. And there was a story about somebody seeing something in a parking lot. And they saw this suspicious situation and they texted it to all of us and were like, what is this? And another friend said, you guys should write a song about this situation. And I did.
Like what you
Immediately,
did
I was up here
right then
in
and there.
this room playing guitar and I was reading these text exchanges and then I was like, fuck it. I'll throw something down real quick. And so I threw it down.
So within about a half an hour of these texts going on, Brad texts to the thread
Yes.
a song.
Yes. About the current topic while I think Stu was in a car looking at a situation, right?
Yeah. So Brad writes this song right away, texts it to all of us and our friends, and I'm sitting here at my house, and I listen to it, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I got an idea to where I took my phone into my studio room, recorded what Brad had just sent, and then I started playing to it because I wanted to
Yeah.
send it back to the thread. So it was like a ping pong thing, but I was trying to work really fast because I didn't want too
Good
much time to
texting
go
is all
by.
about quick response.
Right.
Yeah. So I added elements to it and sent it back, and that's basically where it
Yep.
stopped. And it's just been floating around on my hard drive for years. So a really fun story, I think, of how this song got made. And we are not going to re-record it
It's a
because I
done
think
deal.
it's actually pretty cool the way it is. We're going to listen to Brad's original text. Then we're going to listen to the version that I sent back to him with added elements. And I did do a Belonging
Sweet.
Songs mix for this so we can release it out into the world. And after we listen to the first two versions, I'll tell you what I did for the
Do you
final version we're gonna
remember,
put out
like,
into the world. So
I think it was Stu's text for about what he thought was happening? Because I can't remember why the context is what it is.
I'd have to search
Of
through
years
it.
ago. Right, and I can't remember if he was like, so do people just go to the grocery store and do drugs in their car and leave their kids at home or what?
and basically one of our friends saw just somebody
Right.
smoking weed outside in the
Meyer
parking
or
lot
whatever.
of like
Yeah,
a
whatever. Yeah.
Walmart or something, or Meyer, yeah, I don't know. And I think probably with
Right.
kids in the car. I don't really remember, but based on the context of the song, it's a very short song, but it really captures this just feeling of almost like
Got these
I gotta
fucking
get
kids.
back in this car and go home. Like life, and I just need this. So, so let's give Brad's original text.
All right,
of-
I've
is
got
this?
it. I think
That's
I've got
fast.
it.
Patrick, you found the backstory?
I found it. 7/14/17. Hold on. I need a little bit
Very
of time.
fast.
How did you find that?
I searched in my phone.
But how? I don't even know. Please enlighten me on how you go back
Just-
like 6
I
or 7
wanna
years
know-
in a text thread.
I
Without
want to
doing
know
this.
what your search bar is.
Scrolling.
Like, what did you say in that thing?
Yeah.
So I just
I
put
didn't even know that you could do that.
I put Meyer and weed. The conversation was started by me, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Even better.
I'm trying to get to
Oh,
that.
so Patrick wrote this song.
Well, I'm
Definitely
claiming
gets the
credit
cred.
for it. Here's the problem. Like, it takes forever to load back messages. Like, I can search for a piece of it, but I can't.
Are you using Brad's computer?
Yeah, that's weird. It, like, pulls up the date. Says, I'm hereby commissioning a song by Brad and Wade about people who smoke weed in the Meyer
right.
parking lot. And then it won't load the damn message. So we'll do it in
right.
post. I'll get there.
Well, while it's loading, let's listen to this. I'm glad you found that, though. Got it?
Yep,
Do
got
it.
it.
Brad text.
Just one more here. Just one more here. And back to the keys. And back to where we live. Just one more here. Just one more here. Then back to the cave. Back to where we live.
All right. No technical difficulties or anything. We got it.
Smooth.
Perfect.
music.
One take, off the floor, belonging songs. That's our nickname.
Patrick, you commissioned that.
I did.
Brad took the initiative, wrote it, sent it, and since you asked for both of us to work on this, then
Yeah,
I was
there's a
like, well,
specific
I'm
work
jumping on
order.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you find more on that thread there?
I gotta wait for this thing to load. It's gonna take forever,
Oh.
but
Well, anyway, I do love how that captures just the feeling of life. I gotta deal with it. But first, I really need this.
sometimes
need
sometimes
one
you just have a shitload of cans that you gotta take back, and it takes a little extra help.
That's right.
I heard that. I raced to my studio, started laying down tracks so I could send something back, and this is what I sent back.
Just one more here. Just one more here. And back to the keys.
we got there? Organ, bass.
Got everything you need right there. Package
That's all
deal.
there. Another
Would you say
guitar.
it has good bones?
Good bones.
No, I would not, because then you're going to get snarky about it, and then I'm going to feel all bad about myself all night.
Yeah, and that's where that song has laid for. I don't know what. Do you have a date on those that thread there, Patrick?
Yeah, July 17th, 2018.
Boom.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like longer ago than that, but I guess this past year has
3
been long
years,
enough
damn
for
near.
everybody, right?
Yeah. We just did 5 and 1. so
Oh, I got that messed up. 7/14/17.
Oh, even longer.
shit.
Yeah.
All right. 6 months earlier.
So we could have dug this out, done like our total re-record thing, but I think that this just captures that feeling so much better than anything that we could re-record and do. But I did do a better mix on it, and you guys haven't heard it.
No.
I spent way longer than I care to admit on such a tiny thing. Because I opened it up and I haven't listened to it for, I don't know, all those years. Like maybe we've pulled it up once in that time, but like, hey, remember this thing? Like there's been times, Brad, where you and I have stumbled through old hard drives just looking for stuff.
Yeah.
So that would have been the only time we came across that again. I opened it up and I was like, yeah, this is really great. You recorded the guitar in your vocal all just on your phone, so there's not much you can do mixing wise. And then I had added those other tracks, which are separate. And like I said earlier, I was just doing that as fast as I could to get it back to you because I thought, what a cool thing to do this all in one night over the phone.
Uh-huh.
And I opened it up and was listening to it. I was like, oh, this would be really cool with like some drums at the end, like some soft just drumming. But there's no tempo. It's all willy-nilly.
Yeah,
So-
it's very willy-nilly.
I spent a couple hours putting a tempo map to this. I marked each beat, went through the whole thing, and I did a little bit of arranging on it. And if you guys don't like it, we'll fix it. But I think it is what it is. I didn't do a ton of stuff.
I think it's whatever. So
Yeah,
I think
it's
listen to
hilarious you
it.
spent that much time on it.
Absolutely.
I did. And the tracks that I added afterwards are the bass. I added an organ. I did some hand claps. That's just me doing like hand claps on a desk, I think. So I took those out and put some drums in. And I did background vocals too when I initially sent it to you. And some bendy guitars. So yeah, just mixed it. And I'm curious to see what you think of it now. So
Let's listen.
we want to listen to it.
Fuck
This
yeah.
is the BS mix. Belonging Songs mid-season finale song.
I'm going for number 3.
Oh, is that a diarrhea?
Yep.
Just one more hit. Just one more hit. Back to the Back to Just one more hit. Just one more hit. Then back to the cave. Back to where we live.
It's fucking beautiful, man.
Gorge. She's gorge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So I think it turned out good. I hope I didn't ruin it.
No. No.
Wasn't anything there to ruin. It's beautiful.
That was all stuff besides the drums that was already in there.
Yep.
Just gave it, 4 years of experience in mixing.
That's all it needed.
Yeah, just needed to
That's
simmer.
great. I think that's great. I like it.
Wrap it up with a bow.
That was a fun ordeal, I think, actually, just to impromptu.
Patrick,
Wade.
you're going to put this song on an album.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it going?
It's a large.
No. It's not a middle track. It's an end track.
It's an end track.
Yeah.
Is it an end track?
No, it's definitely an end track.
Are you sure?
What are you going to
it's
do?
not-
Open up the album with this song, Brad?
No. Are you sure it's not the last song on side A?
Oh, no. This could be, we were just talking right before we started recording this. This could be a hidden track.
This is a hidden track.
It's our
That's
first hidden
right.
track, guys.
That's what it is.
I think so.
20 minutes
It was
went
so
by.
hidden, you have to listen to the album for 4 years
That's it.
for it to show up.
Yes.
It's like a time release. It's like, well, no. The first 400 times you don't get to hear it, but all of a sudden this thing's gonna
It's like
keep
what
playing.
Bob Barker used to do with the big wheel. Like, you can't reset it for a full
Right.
day.
Right.
I like the idea of somebody just putting on an album and then it ends, and then 4 years later, this song pops
Just
on.
one hill.
That is a better thought, where that you have to leave it going.
Yeah,
For 4 years.
And then no way to fast forward.
no. And then you get 1 minute and 11 seconds.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, you heard the hidden track, right? Oh no.
And,
well,
and
you're
right
not as cool
then,
as me.
the listener
You're not
had to
as
poop
cool.
and missed it.
No, I think that's a great song. It's been stuck in my head since I rediscovered it. And this actually was not planned to play this song on this show. What we're going to play next is what was just planned for this episode. And that is a conversation that the three of us had about the future of this podcast going forward, which wasn't planned to be released. It was a candid conversation where we just happened to be recording. And we're going to play that for anyone who wants to stick around just to hear how we came to the decisions that we have. But in leading up to recording this episode, I remembered, we have that little song. We could use it for the episode. So there is a song. And I'm really glad we did, because I think it's really cool. And it is a perfect end track. Not that this is the end, but hey, if it were, think about the title "One More Hit." Just like if Belonging Songs were to end now, that would be the track to go on. That's not happening. It's not happening. Let me be clear. Just like when I named a song Finale 2 songs before our season finale and watched our listenership drive off a cliff.
We should have advised against that.
Right. So, BSers, that is the end of the official first half, season 2, Belonging Songs. Now we're going to play you a very personal conversation that the three of us had together. That, like I said, we did not intend anyone to ever hear, but it was just us kind of working through where we're at with making this show and the hardships that we have come up against while trying to keep a schedule of doing a song a week, and it's really hard. But as I listened back to it, because we did record an episode after we did it, so that was just in the recording when I went to edit our Familiar Things episode, I was listening and I was like, this might be really beneficial for our listeners to actually hear. It'll give them a real behind the scenes kind of look into where we're at with the show. So we're going to play that now, and then we're going to jump in and do one of our world famous outros. So we will be going back to the past right now, and then once the conversation is over, we will be jumping from there to the future, which is the present for us. Either way, we'll see you right after this. So, that's...
You need to find more people to get on this show, because Patrick and I aren't cutting it.
Well, that's true. So I do have a plan. I wanted to run it by you guys, but I do want to make sure you still want to do this.
I do. I don't know. It's hard. I'll admit that. I will say that. It's tricky. You guys are frozen.
Let us know when you're back.
Unfrozen.
I think we're back now.
Caveman Lawyer.
Caveman Voyeur.
What's your plan?
My plan is to do mid-season break, which would be May.
Like the next month.
Yes,
For how long are you thinking?
for the month. I think we have to, if we're going to make it
Probably.
work. So that would be
Yeah.
4 months on, a month off, and then 4 months for the second half of season 2, if we think we can make that work.
There is a possibility that it could work.
I mean, we're definitely not going to make it much longer like this. So, I mean, that has to be the case right now. I finished Familiar Things. I didn't want to. Brad, I'm not trying to be, I'm never trying to be difficult or be a dick. It's
know.
just, that's the only song that was in the pool of music we have that could be turned into an episode at this point. New song. And last season, I think we did so well. Well, first of all, everybody seemed much more excited about the project, but we also drew on a lot of already written material.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really helped us get through a lot of the weeks, whereas this season, every song we've done so far is brand new. And so obviously that takes more time. So by doing Familiar Things today, we've got Snakes coming out Monday. This would be another episode. So that would be, we would just need 2 more episodes before the break. One of those could be the contingency Better This Way episodes that I wanted to record, but we're all sick today, so I definitely don't want to do that today. And Brad worked, and you're busy working, so if we could just get through this one today, that'll buy us another week. We could plan on making that one of those. I mean, we could split that in. There's 2 episodes there, but I would rather not put those back to back. I do have 2 songs I'm working on. I've got lyrics for like half of one, and I like them. I just need more lyrics.
More time. Well, that
Yeah.
brings me to my question is, do we need to maybe think about the format of the show? Is a song a week too much? Do we need to go every other week or something different?
That is a good question. I don't know if that would be more beneficial or doing the break like a month in the middle. I guess this will be a good experiment. We'll see how many we get coming back.
I think it's pretty demanding myself. Song a week. Not only for people that don't have a lot of time like Patrick and I at the present, but for you to be able to have to put it all together. That's a tall ask for the episode and the mixing and all that shit. I don't know that for the way our songs come together, I don't know if once a month is too far. I don't know.
You mean 1 episode a month?
Yeah. And then focus on 12 songs a year. I don't know. It's tricky. I know I'm cash. I probably am not putting forth the effort that I should because I'm just exhausted at the end of every day and I don't do shit. So that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Patrick's in the same boat or not, but
What do you think the difference between this year and last year?
stock material is
Yes.
probably one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if my job was kicking my ass as much as last year.
Mine didn't.
Well, we got to do this break, so that's going to be the whole month of May. But we have to like mention it on this episode so people are prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we want to maybe try to scale back to 3 episodes a month or just play it by ear from there. We got a message from Todd Bays. He definitely wants to do an episode in June,
Cool. Let's get them scheduled.
or we can shut this down.
I don't think shutting it down's the answer. I think expanding it's the answer. There's got to be a better way to incorporate people beyond the 3 of us, and that should make it a little bit easier. But I don't know how to do that necessarily. Not in the scene. I don't know any musicians that would put songs.
We have a huge problem in that the only way we're going to grow this show really is by networking, and all 3 of us are horrible at that.
Yeah, there is that.
So, yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I guess we need to really step back and ask ourselves, what do we want to do with this? I mean, if we're just doing it for us and it's fun, whatever, one episode whenever we feel like. But for me, I feel responsible for keeping a schedule for the listeners we do have. It's been pretty stressful thinking about lately, like not being able to make it. So I feel like a failure.
I think the big thing is, why are we doing it at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. This is my favorite thing to do, and I'm constantly worried that I'm annoying you guys, or that you guys aren't going to want to do it, or that like I'm being a jerk somehow when I'm badgering you for stuff, which I don't want to do, or don't want you guys to feel like. I've been trying to be really conscious of how often I text you about stuff, or like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that, because I don't want it to be a chore for you guys. I love it, and I would hate to not do it anymore. But I don't ever want you guys to feel like you can't be like, hey, this is too much, I'm not into it anymore, like, I want out. I would much rather you just say that.
I don't think it'll ever be that I'm not into it. It's just it's just squeezing it in. What I would say is, I've always looked at it like, I mean, it's our thing, but it's your show. I think I would try to just encourage you to take advantage of that situation and try to figure out a way to expand the format instead of making it just the three of us. I mean, because it is this is your thing, and this is what you need to do you just said it, right? This is what you need to do to feel the value, right? And so I think I don't want to tell you that I don't want to do it, because I'm always going to want to pop in and I'm always going to want to do it, but I don't have time always to do it. And so that's negative on you and our friendship and all of that. And so I don't want that to be the case, but I want to find a way to make it so it can still go on for you. And so other people are the only answer, but you really have to look in and see if you can figure out a way to get, like, how do you promote this thing, or just call people, or swallow pride and find people, find ways to get other people involved in the show. And then Patrick and I can either dip in and dip out, or we can be in every week talking about other people's stuff or whatever. But I think this is I think an opportunity to see that we're kind of falling on our face a little bit.
Right.
To realize that we have to expand it a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, this is your baby. We're doing it for you more than anything.
Okay. I mean, I know it's like mostly my thing. I wanted it to be like our thing when we started it, but it's become clear.
Well,
that
it is, but
thing.
It's hard. That's the only thing. It's hard. I don't have the hours in the day necessarily. I don't think Patrick does either, and that's the tricky thing to say out loud, but it's a reality. And I don't think that it means that we're not passionate about it or that we don't like doing it. I think it's just a matter of we have to figure out a way to rearrange it a little bit.
I'll tell you what bothers me is I feel like I'm disappointing you, because I don't know, I don't feel on my game, and I haven't been really making any music because A, I don't know where my life is at right now, but B, I don't have any equipment.
No, it's not disappointing. I think it's just been too lofty of a goal to do with everybody's lives. And Patrick, like I've said before, when the initial idea for you to be on, we didn't even think you were going to be making music. Right. So anything that you have done has been just really bonus and cool. And I just think that it's too much work for Brad and I to handle, to write a song a week. I think maybe for anybody to do that is
a tall order.
Too much.
That's a tall order for, I think, like you just said, anybody to do is a tall order.
Ideally, I would love to always have you guys involved and us be the host. But ideally, like having one or two more songwriters who are going to contribute regularly is what we have to try and get to.
I think that's the big thing, because talking about the music is fun. Right. And it doesn't take a ton of
It doesn't take up that much time, right?
Yeah.
And from the listener's perspective, I mean, it's the same three Chuckleberries type of music that they're listening to every week. And so
I don't think that's so much of an issue, though. I think people tune in because they like the three of us.
Right. And that's why I think
for the most part,
like different music could be more fun to talk about. But I think, I think, the difficult part of that is, like you said, we're not great networkers. I'm a pretty good networker with my job, but I'm not very good with this. And so this is your primary thing. I think you have to figure out a way to network and figure out a way to get out there and do it and make sure that you can bring people into it. If it's 2 people a month, if it's 2 people every 3 months, whatever gets it started, this is your thing to grab onto, and we're here to help as much as we possibly can. And I think originally it was our thing and we laid it out sort of here's how it can go. But I think for it to sustain every year by year, what we're trying to do is more difficult than what.
Well, yeah. And I would like you to just be able to work on your music like you always have.
Right.
And
come
leisure,
in and
when
come
you have
away.
one, you bring it in. And we can still always record regularly like this.
Yeah.
Like a couple hours a month, is not that big of a deal.
This is like Patrick said, this is the easy part. Like popping up here for an hour and a half, like once a week even, is not a big deal. This is pretty easy. It's the creating content, and I have 14 things that are started, and I keep starting things, and I keep trying to finish things. I'm like,
Now, we've always talked about trying to figure out ways to create content without having to write songs, and we've done that with what you're listening to. So another idea I had was shutting Patreon down and just
bring it all to one channel.
Those over.
Yeah.
Bringing those over here. Do one of those a month in this feed. That is 12 songs we don't have to write.
Right. I think that's one easy thing to do.
Or, those are so easy to do. We could even do 2 a month. And that would cover a Patreon and this, but I don't know if that's necessary. Nobody really... people say you should have a Patreon in case... But it's not doing anything.
No, and I think wait till you get over, 150 steady listeners.
Right.
I think that's probably a smart thing.
I think it's smart to lump us all together under one brand. It's like the Dan Cummins model. He has like 12 shows right now, and they just kind of all show up whenever.
Right, on his thing.
So, if we have a Belonging Songs brand, then that gives us some more flexibility too, and we can still get content out there.
Yeah. Belonging Songs presents what we listening to or whatever. Yeah.
Like you said, that's a 1 show per month that we don't have to worry about.
Maybe you don't. I spend hours looking up hot dogs.
I think the breaking a season into 2 halves is a good idea, considering what we do and how hard it is.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to understand that. So we've got, like I said, just 2 episodes to cover after this one to get to that mid-season break. And then during that, maybe figure out what we're going to do for the second half of the season. I still, now that we're into it, would like to try and complete a full season, even if it means doing what we're listening to or throwing strides into the season. And then the hiatus, it can just be, we're just gone.
Well, there's also that's a lofty goal, a season being a year. Podcast world's cool because you do whatever you want. So we can end a season whenever you want. You could do 3 you could do 3 seasons a year whenever you want.
Right, but if we're putting 1 3-month long break and that's 4 months out of the year that we're not podcasting already. I like the idea of a season being a year, especially for music, for the sake of what I just did recently with all of our songs. It's like, here's a thing that we put out when the season's done. Brad's songs from this year. It's a nice contained type of thing. But no, you're right. We could do shorter seasons.
It could be just as easy 8 songs from season 3, and season 3 went from January to June. It doesn't have to be a year,
Right.
There's all kinds of podcasts. A lot of them piss me off because they're all of a sudden they're just like, boop, and this is it. And you're like, what?
Well, yeah, I don't want to piss people off.
No, you don't get, but I get pissed because I want more of it. And so when it comes back on, I'm like, oh, sweet, it's back on,
Right. I don't want us to get burnt out, though, because I really do love this.
Yeah, but I think the pace that it currently is going and the way it went last year, like I said, last year, I think had some more areas to fill because we had old stuff we could hark back on and just remix stuff. But it's a hard deal with 3 people to supply 4 new songs a month is a lot. From start to finish, that's a lot. So That is a tall order. And I know you don't want to feel like you harp on us to do it. I don't want to feel like I need to be harped on to do it. You know what I mean? So just as bad as you feel asking me to do stuff is how I feel by the fact that I can't do stuff, you know? So I'm just like, fuck, it's kind of a whirlwind.
That's what I wanted to make clear with this song, too. Though I know you well enough to where you're going to be like, it's done now. Fuck it. I don't want to do it.
It's fine. It's fine.
You can always still do a version of that.
Exactly. Like, it's all out there. I don't know. I mean, as far as format, I think that's something we got to figure out because it's very bold.
So are you guys cool with trying to make it through April? So we need
we committed. We committed to that already. Yeah.
And then let's figure out
how to rearrange it a little bit.
It's going to have to change.
Yeah.
Like, we got to figure out something to where we're not stressed out. I don't want this to be like a thing that gets us pissed at each other ever.
No, exactly. And you've laid those ground rules from the get-go.
And in order to do that, one thing we have to do is communicate better, because that does piss me off sometimes where I'm like, what? How the fuck do I know?
Well, I'll admit, some days I come home and I just put my phone on the counter and I don't even touch it after work. So until I'm going to bed. Some of that's on me.
Brad Maurer. Yeah, Saturday at 4 will work. Brad, should I schedule a thing for 4 today?
Are you crazy? I didn't hear anything sooner.
That's what you said.
I know. We're good.
If we can get our bodies healed, then I think, Wade, we can get that demo. You and I can get together and probably at least get a demo done for April. There's a good outline of that track.
I've got 2 songs. We got that one. I know Brad's working on stuff. I know it's just not there yet. So there'll be stuff.
Yeah.
I did try to relearn how to play that riff, and I think I got it. Jesus, it took a while. It's not that hard of a riff, and I could not unlock it.
Yeah, and it goes in spurts, too. You can't force. Sometimes I'll have like, I got 6 songs all of a sudden.
Yep. That's how I am. I go through droughts, though, just the same. So I'm in a drought.
This will help with what I was talking about the last time we met, where we don't... I feel like there's been a couple episodes where we're basically just trying to get the episode done, and we're losing some of the fun stuff, like the Uncle Dave stuff, and we've just been all business, so I'm hoping this will take some of the stress off.
Like this episode that we're going to do, it has to be done, basically.
Yeah.
And we want to avoid that. So I think by building in, like having a better strategy where we don't have to make so much stuff, music content, because that's what takes all the time. Recording the episodes, no big deal. But that's not to say, like, if we go through a spurt where, Brad, you write 6 songs and I write 6 songs, that we can't supplement whatever we were doing to fill time where we didn't have songs with songs, you know?
Yeah.
Could always have more, but I think it might be good for the second half of this season then, after we do the month-long break, which we're still going to have to work on stuff, to, do less songs per month. Whether it's 2 or 3, we could always shoot for 3, and then if we think it's not going to work, scale it back. I guess we'll have to talk about that. If we want to fit what we're listening to's in, or if we still want to plan on bringing content every week, just not songs.
What else could we do that isn't a song?
Freestyle.
We got to sell vitamins. That's like how everyone makes their money, is they sling vitamins and beef broth.
Gut health?
Yeah, gut health. That's a good one.
Yeah. We just talk about gut health.
We need some Wade-branded vitamins.
Yeah. About pillows.
Vitadix. All the vitamins go straight to your dick, not wasted on your brain or your heart. These are dick pills.
I mean, it could be like we do a whole different, like what we're listening to is a whole different podcast. Like Patrick was saying, though, it could all be our thing under the Belonging Songs brand.
Right.
Like in our feed. So we could come up with a completely different podcast that would be one of the weeks per month that's in our feed. And maybe it's a 15-minute podcast about X. I don't know.
Vitadix. Yeah, Brad knows.
I think we need to make it a priority to just keep this in mind and try to get together. Maybe next week we're going to have to record something, but kind of brainstorm, maybe everybody kind of keep it in the back of their mind. Like, well, what can we do moving forward? Like, what do you think the best thing would be? And maybe when we meet next, we'll compare what we've come up with, because oftentimes I need to think about stuff like that for a day or two. I mean, I have been thinking about it, but I think moving the what we're listening to's over to the Belonging Songs feed would be a big help.
I don't think having a private club is worth it at this point as far as Patreon goes. Easy to do. Fill those out. If they end up being lopsided to the songs, then whatever. Who gives a fuck? Like you said, if it's actually the three of us that people want to hear, then we'll just make them listen to the three of us every once in a while.
Right.
You know, that's pretty
Yeah.
easy.
I thought that episode that we put into the feed was
great.
really, really good.
It was great. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun listening to it.
Yeah.
Actually,
I thought
put
so
together.
too. So
Yeah.
We will lose nothing by shutting down the Patreon feed at this point.
No.
It's Shanna and my sister,
We're gonna lose that sweet cash.
well, it's a whole
which I feel bad about taking anyway.
Yeah.
and it's a whole nother thing that you have to like pay attention to,
I have to
and,
run.
like, upload
Yeah.
and do.
Mhm.
It's fuck it. It's not gonna do anything yet. So just
I
get
mean, I
rid
think
of it.
that's the other thing too. We don't have a staff.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like
no
a lot
even-
of these.
We don't even hardly have fans.
right. So
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
Actually, we have less every week, it seems
Don't
like.
even have
so-
many a fan to necessitate an entire staff.
You don't have to shut Patreon down. It can still just be there.
Whatever. Yeah. I think just keep it simple, stupid, right? That's where it's at. Just put it all in one lane. Have that show and this show. If you run out of content, it's the easiest thing to do, where we just
Yep.
go, what are you listening to? We tell each other, we listen to it, we talk about it, done deal.
We're going to do this break. Why don't we go into the second half thinking, okay, we're going to do 3 songs a month and a what we're listening to, because we're going to hopefully build a couple up during the break.
Yeah. Where you could spread out.
It's going to be scheduled out ahead of time. Anytime we get in a pinch,
You just do what you're listening to.
throwing an extra
Yeah.
what we're listening to in.
It's easy.
I think that's a good plan, moving forward
Agreed.
to get to the end
Until the
of
show
this
becomes
season.
nothing but what are
Yeah.
we listening to?
Right.
Right.
And already one of those episodes in June, we've already got Todd said he really wants to do it.
We need to do like a.
Yeah.
Is it Channel 4? That's the Wayne's World channel.
I think
We
so.
need to do like a bumper
Public
that's
access.
like Belonging Songs presents boop, and then it goes into whatever show we're doing.
We can do that.
That's a good contingency plan, because the content heavy stuff, it's hard to do.
I think we need to just explain that on the show. Maybe on this one we're going to record that that's what's going to happen moving forward. I don't see anybody having a problem with that. This is really tough. They're going to understand that we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't force creativity on.
Forced is usually shit.
Yeah.
So let's not do shit.
You feel good with that, Wade Dana?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been stressing out about it because I knew that we were just going to like.
I don't ever want you to stress out. A lot of shit going on.
Not that it's stressful. I just take it. I do take this seriously.
I know you
'cause
do.
I really like it.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. I think what we're doing is awesome. I think we're all going to look back years from now and be like, that was really fucking cool.
Right.
I don't know. Hopefully we're still doing something that's
Right.
really cool, and it turns into something really cool. But
Well, we're going to be running the Aero Catch League, so
Yeah.
we'll have to put it on the behind the music. Speaking of Aero Catch,
it's about season.
Oh, wait.
about season.
I did pop-up video instead. Sorry. Bloop.
I had a friend that interned for pop-up video.
What?
I think you
Yeah.
mentioned that before.
You know
Yeah, I
the,
think I have. That's a story I like to tell just because I think it's cool.
you know the coolest people, man.
That's
So
a cool
anyway.
show. That's a really
I-
cool concept.
Loved that show. Loved it.
Yeah. Maybe we should do pop-up video.
Yeah, pop-up song cast.
And we just have to find the time to make videos too.
That's
Set course.
To the future!
All right, we're back, and we have not broken up. We're still buds. We're still going to do the show, but hopefully that gives you listeners some insight into why we need this break that is coming up starting next week. And we're going to use it to kind of take a little step back, write some new songs. And one of the things that we had talked about in that conversation you just listened to was, why are we doing this show? And that's something that I've been thinking about over the past week since we had that conversation, trying to be honest with myself on like, why am I doing this? Why do I get stressed out, or why do I take it so seriously? And I am doing this show because I really love hanging out with you guys. I love making music and bringing it to our listeners. I went to school to do music production and make music, knowing full well that there was a very good chance that I was not going to make any money at it. And it was only for my personal fulfillment. And that's what I'm doing. So for me personally, I know it's something I'm just always going to be doing, is making music. So this is a really fun way to do it. And I also am doing it because as an artist, as much as sometimes we hate to admit it, I'm always looking for some sort of affirmation from others who like get to hear or experience my art, just so somebody can be like, hey, I heard the thing. It was awesome. Like, that's a big part of the reason why we do what we do, because we're hoping to put it out there and make others happy or have them experience it. But there is an act of selfishness in creating art, in that we are seeking for that affirmation. Like, I love it when somebody says like, hey man, I heard your song and it was great. Like, that makes us really want to keep doing it. That leads me to like another reason I want to do this, and why I do this is for listeners of Brad's music and Patrick's music in the future. Brad, I know if we were never to do this podcast, if we had never started it, or if we stopped it right now, you would keep making music and things would go on just fine, like they always have. But I really love being able to turn your songs into something that I think other people will really connect with, because I think they're worth it. So that's a big part of the reason for me doing this show, just for future listeners and people who will become fans of your music, because I think it's important. And I just wanted to say those things because I had been thinking about them.
I would agree with that. I think one of my favorite things about this podcast is seeing that transition. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that since we've had this conversation. It's like, you know what I really enjoy is creating something and completely just giving it to somebody else and receiving it back. That's a very cool process to be a part of, to where, like you said, I would not quit creating music. I would have it all and it would be here, but it would it would remain in that state for eternity. And I think it's so fun to just go, hey, like, I'm done with this. You take it, you do something else with it, and you give it back to me, and I don't have to like it. I could like it better the way I did it, and you'll put it back together the way it was brought to you. But I would say 9 times out of 10, or maybe 10 times out of 10, I see what you see in it, which is different than what I saw in it, and it makes it completely a different experience as far as creating music, and I love that. I do.
And the process doesn't end with us. By putting it out into the world, that process extends to our listeners. And that's why we're always asking, like, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you, because that's a big part of us creating music, is to get it out to you. And it does feel good when we hear back from somebody that says like, hey, this is awesome. We really like what you're doing. That helps to keep us going. So please, send us a message.
One of the things we talked about was like, if you paint a painting and you put it in a drawer, that's a completely different experience than if you paint the painting and you hang it on a wall. And then you see somebody looking at it when they're walking by, and then you know there's an experience happening. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't really matter what the thought is, as long as somebody's looking at and thinking of your work. That is the communal experience that this show has done for our music. Because before this, obviously we had played a lot of stuff live and that was really fun, but the creative process was, we got together, we create things, we do a complete song, and then we put that painting in a drawer, and that's where it sat, and nobody got to hear it. And so just the fact that this helps complete the thought, and just somebody accidentally might even be walking by that painting and taking
Yeah.
a look at it. I'm all right with that. I don't need somebody telling me how great something I did is. I just want to be able to have them experience it, and that's fine with me. So the more you think about the conversation that we had, and we're busy, and there's all kinds of reasons why we can't keep up with the pace of the show. That's okay.
I think it's going to be fun moving forward to see what happens with the show, because we're going to be giving you now like 3 different shows in one feed.
Right.
We're going to be like changing the channel for you. What other podcast gives you that?
Right.
You're going to get
Exactly.
different stuff. It's not always going to be maybe a Belonging Songs episode with a brand new song, but we're going to give you what we're listening to, which has been really fun. And that's part of giving back to the community. Like, hey, we think this is cool. We think maybe you'll think this is cool. And also maybe we're helping to support some other artists along the way. And we want more people to come in with their songs and writing music, and we would love to help people along with that. So second half of season 2, we're looking forward to having a friend who wants to write a song already. So very much looking forward to that. And we want that to become more a part of the show moving forward.
Boom.
Done.
Next.
Well, the past 40 minutes of us talking about the podcast crashing and burning can be an episode right there.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Boom, done. Next.